So figure 6.16 illustrates the resolution of Italian 6 and French directly to 5. So here you can see that augmented 6, each spreads out. So this goes up a half step, the top goes up a half step, the bottom goes down a half step. All right? And then it goes right to 5. Now, if you want to go to 164, you're still going to do the same thing, but these two notes in the middle are going to switch. All right? So you're going to switch around these notes. You still go down to E and up to E, but instead of doing a G sharp and a B, you do A and C, and then you follow normal voice leading and move to the 5. All right, so keep a common tone. Everything else moves in similar fashion, right? French 6, same thing. You're going to resolve that outside augmented 6 and then fill in the rest. If you're doing a French to a 164, same thing. Resolve the outside chords, switch out the notes. So instead of a G sharp and a B, you're going to go to A and C again, A and C, and then you move to the 5, all right? Which will be the same notes as going directly there. That's all it is. Here, in the German 6, they're showing you, this is what you're trying to avoid, right? So if you resolve this guy out, like this, so that's already given, not an option, then these, if you're resolving it to the nearest note, this should go down to G sharp, this should go down to B, which creates a parallel fifth here, all right? And you want to avoid that. So it would be really awkward for this A to go up to B. It's going to sound weird. And this C to jump all the way down to G sharp. It's not really great voice leading. So to avoid that, we prefer to go to 164, which makes a lot more sense. You can have a common tone, still resolve outwards, 2 common tones, and then you go to the 5th. So it's a much, much cleaner way to resolve the German 6th than going straight for the 5, which is super messy, not very good sounding, all right? So that's all there is to it. Not too bad, right? So if we look at major keys, this is the other one. Remember, we switch up the name, the chromaticism. In this case, you're going to spell the German 6th enharmonically to achieve a more normal voice leading. So B sharp to C sharp. So instead of going C natural to C sharp, which is kind of awkward, right, for our German 6th chord, we're going to call it B sharp instead of C natural and then move to C sharp. It's just a little bit easier to read. This one's super chromatic, kind of awkward. This one, less awkward. So that's all there is to it. All right? It's going to be the same key on the piano. So yeah. Now, our first assignment, let's take a look at it. So it's going to be your job to do assignment 6.1. You're going to do 1 through 10. Well, 1's already done for you, and I'm going to do number 2 and 3 to help you out. So really what you have to do is 4 through 10. So you're just building the chords. They give you what kind of chord it is, and then they give you the bass note, all right? So we know that a French chord has to be some sort of 2 chord, right? So it's going to be a 2-6, or 2-4-3, sorry. All right? And we also, or you can just do our basic build it up, right? So we've got D flat, and then you're going to go up a major third on the bottom, right? And then you're going to go up a major second from F to G. And then you've got to create your augmented 6 from D flat to B, just like this. All right, and then we have to figure out what key it's in. All right, so this key, we've got, if you put it in a root position, you've got G, B, D flat, F. All right, so it's a G chord of some sort. It's a G chord, which is a French sixth. So it functions as a 2 chord, which means that we're going to be in the key of F. And that's all there is to it. Right? And we know it's F minor as opposed to F major because there's B natural, not B flat. All right? For an F major, we'd have to have a B flat in there. And then that would shift everything else. Okay? So let's do number 3. So this is a German 6th chord, all right? So we know we have to create a 7th, basically. And that it functions as a 4 chord, 4-6. This one is 2, 4, 3. Okay, so we're going to need 4 notes. And again, we've got a major third, so B flat to D. It's going to be our major third. And then we've got a minor third. So this is just going to be our normal triad, right? Perfect fifth. So B flat to F natural. And then we have to add our 7th for our augmented 6th. So B flat to G sharp, like that. All right, so you're just stacking them on top of each other. All right, and then this G sharp whatever chord, because it's G sharp to B flat. So this G sharp diminished 7th chord functions as a 4 chord, right? So it's the 4th. The G sharp is the 4th in the key. And it's going to be raised up. So think about the key of G. And in the key of G, or in the key of D minor, right? G is the 4th. And then because we're raising the 4th up, this tonic note, right, a half step, it makes it German as opposed to the 4th. All right, so you've always got to think about taking this G sharp, if it's the root of the chord, which it is for the Italian and the German. It is not for the French, so you don't have to worry about it for the French chord. But for the German chord, it's going to be the root of the chord, all right? So you've always got to take away this raised half step and think about it as just G, all right? How would it function if it weren't a German chord, if it were just a 4 chord, all right? Does that make sense? All right, so then you just have to fill out the rest. This one's going to be tough, B double flat. Just get creative, all right? And then you're going to do 6.5, and you're going to go 1 through 6, okay? And 6.6, yeah, so you're going to do numbers 1 through 6. I'm actually going to do number 1 for you, so you know how to work it, all right? So we're in the key of B flat major. This is some Scott Joplin. All right, so this first chord is actually pretty tough. So it's a B flat, D, F, and then an A flat. All right, so we're going to call this a B flat 7th chord, and the 7th is going to be flat. All right, so that's the macro analysis. So in what key, A flat can't really function in the key of B flat, right? Cannot function, and I don't know why they didn't put the key signature of B flat, but trust that you're analyzing in B flat, okay? So what this is, we have to deal with a secondary dominant now, all right? So this one's pretty tricky, and it's actually going to end up being a 5 chord, 5-4-2 in a 4, all right? And that's because if you think about what key can you have an A flat in, right? You can have an A flat in the key of E flat, right? So E flat's the first key that you can have an A flat in, which is the fourth of B flat. All right, so that's our bottom. And then in that, so if we're temporarily moved to E flat, right, our B flat functions as the 5 of E flat. All right, so it's 5, 4, 2 of E flat. So this is B flat of E flat. That one's a tricky one. If you find something like this, leave it blank. I'll help you through it, okay? Now, we have the same chord over and over again, so that's just for this whole measure. And then we move on here, right? So in this case, we've got E flat, G, B flat. So it's clearly just an E flat major chord. So in the key of B flat, functions as a 4, which makes sense because we're coming out of this chord right here, the 5, 4, 2 of 4. So this, and it's in first inversion, right? Next chord, so here's where we get tricky, right? So we've got G flat, B flat from this guy, right? It's not natural. And then C and E. So how does this function? Well, I can tell you that the subdominant of B flat is E, so we just got done playing a bunch of E flat chords, right? And we've got a raised subdominant right there, right? So this is going to be, so we've got C, E natural, G flat, B, right? And check this out. We've got an augmented sixth working it right there, right? So this is going to be our French sixth. Boom. And even in the macro analysis, you just call it a French sixth. And then in the Roman numeral analysis, call it a French sixth again. Okay? Next chord, we've got simple, F-A-C, F is doubled, so it's just an F chord. Okay, sorry about that. The projector just randomly shut off. Okay, so you can see our French sixth just goes directly to 5, all right? And you can see it expands out. So here's our augmented sixth, G flat to E natural, right? Augmented sixth. And it just expands outward down to the F, up to the F. Down a half step, up a half step. Cool? All right, now from there, we just add, so we've got doubled Fs down here, same thing, F-A, and then E flat, and one more F. So this is going to be an F-A, the C is missing, and then E flat. So it's just an F7th chord, right? So we're going to call that 5, 7, and F is on the bottom, so it's root position. All right, and then finally, we get a nice B flat down here. So we get B, D, F, B, D, F. So we're going to call this as our lowest note in the chord. And this is just a nice B flat or a 1 chord. Okay, so that's all there is to it. Just have to analyze that, find your French, German, or Italian chords, and good luck. I will see you next week. Come with questions. If you have any chords that you cannot figure out, all right, figure out what's around it. If it goes to a 5th, and you can find that augmented 6th, chances are it's some sort of Italian, German, or French chord. You don't need to know much more than that to identify it. If you've run into something crazy like this, do the best you can, and then just leave it blank, all right? Put a big question mark on it. Bring it to class. I'll help you guys work through it. So, yeah, I'll see you next week. Good luck.